Are we ready for our our hot topic, our spicy topic for the highlights of the podcast?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
All right. So obviously, you've produced some really great content with the death of the game. How soon,
Thank you.
if you could put a time frame on it, how soon do you think New World's going to show up on your series, A Death of a Game?
I think really the most important aspect there comes down to if the game's going to have emergent gameplay. And by emergent, I mean gameplay that happens through essentially there's tools in the game that allow players to interact with each other. So whether it be through a dynamic quest or a zone, a boss mob, like players working together in that way, there has to be enough emergent gameplay, because if there isn't, because they removed a lot of the building aspects, a lot of the company aspects, and more of the individuality of the game, I think people will just get bored of the game because they're going to play it to hell. Really, they're going to play it really hard for 2-3 months. And then they're going to complain, of course, as normally happens, that there just isn't enough in the game. And they're probably going to be right, unless, they can do something about it. So to answer the question without weaseling my way out, I'll say post-launch. So let's say like the game comes out, how many months or years? I would probably say you would notice it pretty quickly. I would say probably within like 6 months. Like,
Oh yeah.
I think you could notice a severe drop at that point, because let's be honest, Amazon already did it with 2 of their other titles so far. So they've already had big title launch, boom, barely anybody playing it. So I think that it's not out of the question to think that that could happen if they don't play their cards right. So.
I think that's why it's really important they actually do hit like a spring release to give the community enough time to get invested, to create bonds. Obviously, they need, when you look at the state of the game, needing more content, more ways of kind of experimenting. Some of the things that we covered here on this very podcast, that really kind of, I think you had some really great ideas of how that could help with balance in PvP and PvE, etc. I think let's say they knock it out of the park, giving them enough runway so that the community can get established. I think no matter what, you're going to have people come in mass, just like with any big game. It's always kind of, it shouldn't be shocking now, but no matter what, people will be like, oh my gosh, like all the people from World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy, because they didn't have anything to do, came to check it out, and then their big game got their update, so they went ahead and went back. That's going to happen regardless. Like, don't look at them as like, oh, here's the, like maybe you'll get some conversion, but most likely people will play where their friends are, where their companies are. And it's hard getting people to jump ship or whatever. You got to have a really strong hook. And I think that at the core of it, that's why I'm really happy they pushed out of just the fall. Let's say the game was ready today and we're like, oh yeah, it needs 1 or 2 things, or 3 or 4 things. That'll be great. But they're going up against Avengers, Outriders, like Destiny, like the fall lineup, new consoles, like boom, instantly. Like within, what is it, September? New games are already rolling out. September, October, November, December. Like you get like, hey, there's a new MMO out. And then it's like no one's talking about it within a couple of weeks, because everybody's like, oh, by the way, my big game is out and I'm going to go play that. And I've been looking forward to that all year. So having them push that in, I think, will help them out. I think giving them the best introduction. But when you talked about the concept of Lord of the Rings, especially as a new MMO, buy them in this engine. I think that if nothing else, this is going to be a game that helps them figure all that out. So when they bring in an IP as big as Lord of the Rings in this engine itself, it's like they don't have an excuse at that point. If Lord of the Rings isn't good, it's like, are you guys not taking notes? Because you had some of these things working here. You needed some grease on the wheels, etc.
Yeah.
With that, that's that's a fun piece of it. Would you make as a content creator, being able to make Death of a Game videos, which you just recently did on Fortnite, Save the World? I thought that was a really great video, by the way. Do you want games to fail? Is that something you look for from a content creation perspective, like the drama behind it? Give me some insight there.
I definitely say that. First, I'll say I think that there is people that do care about that a lot, because I get the comments all the time that tell me like, I can't wait for this game to be on your series. I can't wait for this game to be on your series. And it's kind of like I've told people before, I've never wished a game to fail. Like I just, it's not really in me. It's like I might wish a company to fail. Like we're talking about the bad companies, the ones that, in my opinion, do things that are unjust. But like I would never wish a game to fail, because to me, it's like there's people buying the game anyway. There's consumers that are getting invested in it. It's like anytime there's a failure in a market, especially from Amazon, like we don't want New World to fail.
Right.
And I think that people, especially I streamed the game. I had people responding to me maybe that don't really watch New World or haven't really followed it before, and they're giving me their experiences and from watching, and I got a lot of this problem and it looks like this, and I can understand ultimately the criticism surrounding the game, of course, is absolutely fair, but I think that New World, whether or not it's going to be the next big MMO, I don't think we should come out the gate saying like, hey, I wish it fails and it's gonna fail in a week or whatever else. I think that for me personally, I'm only interested in covering what happened, essentially. So whether a game died in 3 years or nobody was playing it after 3 months, which has happened before too, with some of the titles I've covered where they've have super fast deaths, where all of a sudden they're folded, like for example Radical Heights and games like that that died super quickly. So to answer your question, I don't, and I think I'm actually very against that kind of thinking, especially from the market perspective, because I understand, having worked in business and corporate, that when it comes to a market, when a big player fails, you can see it as a positive in some ways, but in the case of MMOs, it's a big failure because there's only a few key partners right now. Look at all the big players. They're huge companies with lots of money who can really bankroll these kinds of games that the masses want to play. Maybe like the smaller MMOs can kind of do the niche audiences, but we're talking about like Lord of the Rings. That's going to cost a lot of money. Like you have just the IP alone and the amount of overhead for them having to clear things with, the estates or whatever, like whoever is in charge of Lord of the Rings is IP now. I'm not really sure, to be honest, but Warner, I think, or some shit like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't want New World to fail. And obviously Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite universes. I don't want that game to fail either. So, but if it means New World's failure means Lord of the Rings is super success, I know I would not say it now, but I would say it then after it would happen, that it was worth it.
Oh, dude, that's funny. And so true, like very insightful. And I do agree, because it's like, I can't root against devs. I can't root against games. I think one of the things that MMOs really need is a win. I think when we look at the state of MMOs as a whole, there used to be a time where they were just like, they were so prominent because everybody was trying to get on that WoW thing. So all we got was a lot of WoW clones, and then that failed. And then we've seen less and less investment in this style of game. And then, as we said at the very top of this podcast, like, honestly, the fact that we love these kind of games is great, especially living in a pandemic. The ability to connect with people and go on adventures with our friends and have these grand experiences is breathtaking. It is like nothing else that exists in terms of games. Like, I know it's not the most popular genre right now, but I think if MMOs, like especially New World, can knock it out of the park, you can start to see companies go, oh, okay, I see what we did wrong. Maybe we can invest in that and bring about some really good games that are diverse in their offerings and not just clones of something that is popular and that people already do enjoy. Now, with that, that comes up to our hour, and we try to keep the show at an hour. Thanks, chat, for being here. Justin, where can people find you? What you got? You got anything you're working on that you're teasing that you could share, or whatever? Just where can people find you?
So I will have a New World preview out next week. My thoughts about it and a lot of my ideas for how to fix the game, I think, will come in another video following that one. I wanted to separate them because otherwise it's just going to be too long.
Yeah.
And obviously I don't want to do like a 50 minute video or something like that. So that look forward towards that, I guess, next week. And then you can find me on youtube.com/c/NerdSlayer Gaming is my YouTube link. And then, of course, twitch.com/NerdSlayerG. What else am I missing? My Discord is discord.gg/NerdSlayer. I think that's mainly the socials that people follow me on. So.
Be sure to follow Justin, guys, and be sure to check out his series, The Death of a Game. Thank you, Justin, for making time to come on this podcast, and we'll hopefully be able to get you back talking more New World, maybe some Ashes of Creation in the future, some other, there's plenty of MMOs that are on the horizon, and honestly the future looks brighter than ever. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Hope you guys all have a fantastic day. This has been New World Radio episode 3, brand new podcast here at Ginger Gaming Radio. If you like the show, if you like the podcast, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, come back for more content, and especially long form content like we have here. But anyway, hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Take care.
See you later.